to another episode of God's Country Shooting and Outdoors. I'm glad that you've decided to be with me today. So today we're going to be talking about a gun I done a little short on. It's not a new gun. It's been out on the market for a while, but a buddy of mine introduced me to it. We'll call him JD. JD introduced me to this gun. He had acquired it, didn't know a whole lot about it himself, and we're going to talk about it. So today we are looking at the Rock Island Map MS, and this is the 22 TCM 9R. It actually comes with two barrels. It comes with a 22 barrel, and then it comes also with a 9mm. The magazines will actually handle both, and we'll look at those in a few minutes. It's really a cool little round, and I'll show you one of the bullets in a minute because I want to talk about that caliber bullet as much as I do anything. But first off, the map. Make sure that's clear. So this gun is actually a really cool little gun. It's got a 3.8 inch barrel. 16 plus 1 is what the mag holds. Yes, I'm looking at my notes because I can't remember all this. Double action, single action. The single action is probably standard 4 pounds, 5 pounds, something like that, 5.5 pounds. It's not horrible. The single or the double action, if you pull straight back, it is extremely heavy. So cocking the first round, I know most younger shooters aren't used to having a hammer, but most of us older guys, we grew up with a hammer, so it's kind of common for you and I to probably know exactly what to do and how to use a gun that has a hammer in it. Made into it, but this is a cool little gun, double action, single action. The weight is about 2.25 pounds. That's probably unloaded. Does have Picatinny rail on the front. It really reminds me in a lot of ways of one of the CZ. I'm not sure which one it is, but it really kind of has that feel. And when you throw it up, I mean, it throws up really good on the sights. I'm not going to sit here and tell you I'm the best. You'll probably see in the video when I take it to the range, I'm not the best marksman with a handgun, but I don't pride myself on being a marksman with a handgun. I do want to be able to take care of my family, defend my home, defend my church. But I'm never going to be a 1-inch group, 15, 20 yards kind of guy. I'm just not going to be that. I'm more of a rifle person, but I love guns in general. So I had a lot of appreciation with this gun at the range. And that'll be coming up in the next video. I wanted to kind of separate these because I really want to talk about more than just that gun. The gun itself, I really did like. It does feel really good. It points, when you pull up, it points really good. There's plenty of stippling and grip on this gun. I do like the grip as far as the pull up better than I do the Glocks. But I can shoot a Glock fine too. But I do like the way this Rock Island feels. Rock Island was known for making the 1911 style guns, and that's where this cartridge comes from. So we're going to talk about it. The cartridge of the 22 TCM is the parent cartridge of the 22 TCM 9R. This gun is the 9R, and there is a little bit of difference, and I will try to put a picture here and there on one side or the other that you can kind of see the difference between the two. I will add some information here and there from like ammo, this, that, and other. So let's talk about the 22 TCM and the TCM 9R. Where did they come from? What's the parent case? And the rival, the 5.7 by 28. How does it stack up? Let's look at it. Alright, so the 22 TCM, this is the TCM 9R, and I will give you a little bit better picture on the side in a few minutes. So the 22 TCM was actually, the parent case to this cartridge is actually the 223. A man by the name of Fred Craig was the original designer of this cartridge. He wanted to coin it the 22 Micro Magnum. The cartridge, I think the box says somewhere around 1,850 feet per second. They make this cartridge for rifle and pistol, so they make it in a dual purpose. You could use them both. I'm sure that the rifle is going to be spitting these bullets out at a higher velocity than the handguns, but some of what I read said that this Rock Auto map was spitting them out around 1,750. That's a cooking little bullet considering a 9mm. You've got a variation from around 960, 950 up to around 1150, and maybe even a little bit faster. They've actually started making, and that's in a 115 grain bullet. But the 108 grain 9mm is obviously going to be a little bit faster, but it's still not going to be able to keep up with the 22 TCM. So the TCM was a pretty cool little cartridge. They called it the 22 Micro Magnum. And then the president, Craig worked for Arms Corps, and then the president of Arms Corps really loved it. So they recoined it and made a few changes to it, more in the design side for the 1911 versus the 9mm. The cartridge in the 22 TCM didn't really change much, with the fact that Martin Toussaint, the president of the company, really liked it. So Toussaint wanted to be and be a part of the development of this cartridge, so they ended up making the cartridge called the TCM, Toussaint Craig Micro Magnum, or Magnum. I think it's Micro Magnum. So that's where the bullet gets its name. It is a 223 parent case, and they cut it back, necked it down to 22 caliber. I will try to put in the video on the side some of the information about the case capacity and all that, maybe on the side. So the 22 TCM was designed more for what Rock Auto and Arms Corps was specifically in design with, and that's the 1911 style handguns. And any of you guys that are 1911 enthusiasts like me, you've fired quite a few of them. And the grip and magazine well this way is longer for the 1911s than what you would have in a style gun like this with a Glock, which has a shorter magazine well. So there's a little difference in how much room there is for the bullet seating in that case, in that magazine. So that was the 22 TCM. But to make the gun more popular, to make the cartridge more popular, they needed to find a way to make this bullet acceptable in, say, Glock style magazines. Hence the 22 TCM 9R. So the 9R, and looking at it, it's hard to see, and I'll try to put a picture in there of them compared again, side by side. But the 22 TCM is just a touch longer, and the bullet is seated a little bit less than this one. If you can see that right there, that bullet is seated. It looks like it's over seated. I mean, if you're a reloader, you know what I'm talking about. You seated it too deep. But the 22 TCM, in order to make it work in the Glock style magazines, they press the shoulder and neck back just a little bit, very little, and then they seated the bullet just a little bit deeper with however they do it with their dies. But that gave enough room to shorten that bullet overall length down to where it'll fit in the Glock style magazines. So that's where the 22 TCM 9R is different. Velocities isn't much different. Feet per second, foot-pounds of energy. None of that is really different very much, other than it's the guns that it's in. The barrel length's going to make a difference. But now, as far as the cartridge goes, this is a cooking little cartridge. The velocity, and I don't have it right off, but the velocity of the 5.7 by 28 is faster. Not a lot, but it is. So on the 22 TCM, shooting it was really, really fun. It does not have a lot of recoil. It is loud. It is loud. I will give it that. It really has a lot of bang behind it. Very fun to shoot. It was quick to get back on target. I wish I had more than an hour to spend shooting this gun. I really seen the potential for this gun to shoot really good. I found myself having to walk the bullets up to find out how it shot for me. The rear sights are adjustable. It does not have the 3-dot sight, so the back sight is just your standard adjustable cutout that's just black. But the front sight does just drop really good. I mean, when you pull up, it drops in there really good. But the front sight does have like the Trigicon white night sight. It was a really fun gun to shoot. I will try in this video, because I don't have the numbers right off of my head, but I will try to put some velocity numbers for the 5.7 in this video to kind of compare to it. Why do I think that the 5.7 might have a little bit on this gun? One, it does have a little bit more velocity. This is one of those guns that they say is armor piercing. I didn't have a really good way to test the armor piercing capability. These bullets right here, these are little jacketed hollow points. They're not really designed for that kind of penetration. I did shoot it on some 3/8 steel target at the range, which you'll see in the next video, at 10 yards, 12 yards, and about 20 yards, 21 yards, something like that. And they exploded on the steel. They didn't really do a whole lot of damage. I think that you'd see more damage based on the bullet construction, the type of bullet that you're using. As far as this versus the 5.7, I think the 5.7's probably got a little bit on it based on the numbers that I'm seeing with the velocities. What are you doing, Max? What are you doing? Anyway, sorry, my dog's running around. So I do believe that the 5.7 may have some on it, but the real reason why I think the 5.7 may have a little bit more on the 22 TCM or TCM 9R is bullet construction. The 5.7 has a whole lot more different loadings by different companies in that bullet type. The 22 TCM, there's not a lot of manufacturers that's making it. The ammo I found for this gun was actually Armscore ammo, which is fitting since that's the manufacturer that designed the bullet. The gun itself, would I recommend it? Yeah, I think if you're wanting something different than a 5.7 by 28, the Rock Island map is a wonderful little gun to shoot. I can definitely see carrying it. I can definitely see having fun with it at the range. It was a really interesting cartridge. Hopefully throughout this video you've been watching, and I've put enough information on the side of pictures about velocities and all of that to kind of fill in the gaps of what I'm missing with this ammo. But now this was a really, really cool cartridge to shoot. I did find that this gun jammed on me a couple times. I'm still trying to figure that out. I think a lot of it is because it was a used gun. It was just dirty. But one of the things about this gun that I have noticed in this cartridge is because it's set so far back, the bullet is set so far back into the casing, there's a very slight lip right there. And I wonder sometimes if that wasn't causing the stovepiping when it didn't extract one and then it tried to stovepipe a bullet. That may be part of the cause, but I still think most of it's probably because it just was dirty. The first mag I put through it was flawless. Second mag was flawless. Third mag is when I started seeing a little bit of jamming. Uh, Overall, I really like this little gun. It's been a pleasure to get to play with it, and I want to thank JD again for allowing me to borrow this little gun, and hopefully this actually gives him some information, tells him a little bit about the gun itself, and I hope he has a lot of fun with it, because I sure did have some fun with it. All right, until next time, thank you for joining me here, and I want to say, please remember to love God, love your family, love the outdoors, and love your country. So important that we pass on what we love, we know, we believe. Okay? Y'all have a great day. God bless.